Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another walk down memory lane. Today I have Rika joining us. Hello, Rika.
Hello.
Alright, with that, let's go ahead and talk about, we're going to start off with some introductory questions. The first thing I'd like to ask is, when did you start playing Final Fantasy XIV?
So I started playing 14 in the 2.0 beta. So I was in two of the 2.0 betas before it launched. So I forget exactly the time frame, but
Okay.
yeah, I know they had to. Yeah, that they had to like erase their characters and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you're not the only, because I was part of that too. I was in
Yeah.
beta phase 2. That's when I started.
Okay.
So.
Nice.
Alright,
Somehow maybe we have crossed paths somehow.
Just maybe somehow, and then never again.
Yeah, exactly.
Until later in life. So would you consider Final Fantasy XIV your first MMO?
No. I played a little bit of MMOs before that. So I played Ragnarok Online was my first MMO in high school.
Okay.
And then I played Terra Online. I played DFO. And I played God, I played some like random one-offs ones that I don't remember, but the more prevalent ones was definitely Terra and DFO. DFO was first, and then I played Terra to like mitigate the time in between the 2.0 beta happening, because I really wanted to play 14, but like because it was like, oh, we're gonna take down your character, and you know you have to wait till the next beta came out. I was like, okay, I guess we're playing Terra for a little bit, so. I didn't get to endgame, but the leveling experience, and now that I think about it, now that I play controller on 14, I was like, even the controller experience on Terra was very similar, and I think that's what filled the gap in between like 14 and waiting for the next beta to come out.
Gotcha. Okay. I said, I'll be saying mine was Final Fantasy 11. That was my very first MMO back in, since 11 years old. So
damn.
You've been playing. I play. Yes.
You were playing 11. You were playing 11 when you're 11 years old.
Yes.
What a.
Yeah. So I've been playing MMOs for a long time. I'm 33, so yeah, I've been playing MMOs for 22 years.
Old. I'm old. I'm older than you, and you've been playing at 11. Damn, it's wild. So like, it's like because you would have to pay still, right?
Well, yeah. Well, my dad did it. My thing is, my dad.
I know.
Let me
You
play
see,
that.
yeah. You're lucky because like my parents would never want to do that. They were like, "Why are we paying for you monthly to play a game?" No, that's crazy.
No, long story short, my dad got me into it because his friend was playing at the time, and then I was watching him play, and he let me play his character. He thought I liked it, and he got it for me. That's kind of how it is. So. Next on the list, I do want to ask a little bit more about 14 related right here. What job did you start off with in Final Fantasy 14?
I'll go that in a bit, but I don't know if you're supposed to still be on the screen that you're on.
Now, wait, is it not showing me on stars? It should show me on introductory questions still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
This is introductory.
Maybe my screen. Okay. Just making sure. Okay. I started as Paladin. Yeah, Paladin.
Okay. Yep, that sounds like me too.
Yeah, because there's only so much, so it's just I think the idea was like, what was it? My friend just kind of talked me into tanking because he's like, oh, you can feel really cool when you're like holding aggro and protecting the party, and you have to do all this like cool stuff. And little did I know, literally Paladin was just 1 2 3 flash, 1 2 3. No, not really, but yeah.
Listen. I mean, don't get me wrong. It feels like that because you had to circle score and you had to swap your aggro.
Yeah.
Someone who made tank in Realm of War. Yeah.
Wait. So do you remember? I know maybe we'll go through. Do you remember like you have to hold aggro with multiple people? You have to like attack one thing with your number one and then tab over to the next thing and hit like the second thing next over with the 2 and then go back to the first thing to hit it with 3 so you can maintain aggro between everything.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, that was how that was. Yep.
Back in the day.
Yep.
Not many people know that.
No,
it's just like, it's like you have to maintain aggro by like switching through every single thing and like splitting up your combo with every single one.
Oh my God. So the final question for introductory here is, what kind of content do you focus on the most?
So in 14, I mostly focus on raiding and mostly story and raiding. Sometimes I do Sometimes I do other stuff, like if there's in between like side content, like obviously the extreme trials. Everyone's been kind of bugging me again to do extreme trial farms again, and I've been lazy for that. But yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm a bit of a raider myself, so I think we'll
Mhm.
have a bit to discuss. Now, the final question before we get to Rumble Board, I like to always acknowledge 1.0. 1.0 was basically part of the 14 cycle. The main question I have for you is, do you have any stories about 1.0?
I heard about the whole like, oh, it was so shit. Um, like it was so shit, and you shouldn't play it because like my friends that I normally played with said, oh, we're gonna play Final Fantasy 14, and I don't remember if you know, or you probably do, of that like really hyped up screenshot of like 1.0's UI and all of the old like things that it had and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, this looks really great. And then like maybe I heard label later, they're like, oh, so do you guys play? It was like, no, we dropped it because it was shit. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. And I worked at GameStop. So this is all I heard. So I heard mostly things from them. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I won't play it. And then, yeah, they're the ones who gave me the beta later. So I was just like, oh, I was like, we played this. So we have the beta for this if you want to play. So that's the most of my experience with one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'll be real brief. I was I got to level 7 Lancer, level 3 Blacksmith, and I put it down. This was back when my dad got it. He got his PC, he played it, he was struggling. I said, I'll jump in and play. I did the same thing. I said, nah, I think, okay, I'm good. I'll go back to Final Fantasy 11.
That's fair. Wait. Can you confirm then? Because like I had a friend who said that you could like start off as the crafter jobs and none of the other jobs. So I think he said he started as a goldsmith and he was like struggling and then he just couldn't play after that. He's just like,
you could start off as a crafter, but you can actually still start one of the disciple jobs. I started off as a lancer, but you can still pick up blacksmith and all that actually freely, so yep.
Okay. You just was struggled.
Yes, the true struggle. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and jump into a Rumble Born. And then there we go. a little quick siege, just so we get the transition. Got it. So next up here, this is for Rumble Born. This is obviously 2013. This has been the game has been rebirthed from 1.0. We're gonna go ahead in the first question we're going to go ahead and talk to you about is we're actually going to talk about the Coils of Bahamut. What were your experiences of that?
Oh, man. So Coil of Bahamut was the entire reason why I dropped being a paladin.
Okay.
That's my main thing. I won't go into the details. We've went on it on some things, but like Coil's Bahamut broke up my FC apart a little bit. Because at the time we had the opposite problem in our FC that most people did, where we had too many tanks and healers, and we did not have enough DPSs to go into Coils. So we had to split up the FC to go into Coils. And of course, you couldn't go back. Like, you know how nowadays you can just, you can go back, but you get a penalty. It's like, you can't go backwards to help people. Like, once you finish and you clear, you're stuck. You can only do the next fight. So if people cleared, then we were on a shortage of everyone else. So people were starting to rotate who goes to what. And TLDR, there was a lot of fighting. And a lot of people left, and there was a lot of drama, and I'm not going to go into that. But essentially, there was so many tanks, because like we even saw it when Titan Hard Mode. Sorry, jumping ahead.
Yes.
Titan Hard Mode was like the one all be all. Like if you're stuck here, like one of our people in our FC got interviewed the entire fight mechanics to make sure he knew what he was talking about before he was brought in. So, and he was a tank. So we had an extreme amount of tanks and healers. And we found out that, it's really hard to run content together as an FC in general. Cause we were just like, you're locked out because we have to pick up DPS. We don't have DPS. So, the end all be all straw for me was T2 because I did a lot of shout chat yelling, to get thrown into parties. And I got thrown into a party for T2, and for those of you who aren't familiar with T2, T2's mechanics are like, the design is you have to kill a whole bunch of small nodes that when you kill them feed and change the final boss's mechanics on what they do. So usually you have to go through a set path, and you have like 12 minutes to clear the entire thing.
Yeah.
And that timer starts the moment you actually pull the first thing. So ideally it's not great to try to clear every single node. You just clear a couple, alter the mechanics of the boss, and go there. So so basically each node does a cleave, an invisible cleave that puts on a stacking like vulnerability buff. And I could not understand like the range on how it worked. And people in my party were yelling at me because I was trying to face it away so I wouldn't cleave my other tank. But because normally the tanks would stand like off like northwest and northeast of each other of the boss so that they could grab aggro. The butt was facing everyone else and whatnot. And you could like easily switch between aggro without it like facing the party and, you know, doing cleaves and whatnot. So I didn't know the line of where that cleave exactly was because I got yelled at if I went too far, because then they're like, oh, now you're cleaving the party. And I would stand closer to the boss or closer to the other tank, and they're like, you're cleaving the other tank, and they're yelling at me. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out, because I would like micro adjust to try to figure it out. But because you have to do it through every single node, I could never figure it out. So I got yelled at a lot, and I got so much tank anxiety from that. I was like, okay, fuck it. We need DPS. I'm going to start leveling Bard, because everyone needed a Bard because of Mana Song, because of silencing, because silencing was a huge mechanic of every single coil almost. And and Foe's Requiem. Foe's Requiem was a fucking busted
Yes.
skill. Especially when Ninja was introduced later. Like, it was such a good skill. Like, that's why they took it out. Like, it was so good. But yeah, I was like, okay, so what I did is I retired. I didn't, at that time, I don't think I spent any of my tomes to upgrade my my gear. So I held on to all my gear, started leveling Archer from the beginning. And when I hit the point where DPS wasn't really like, I would DF everything to like level. And when I was like waiting for dungeons, I started leveling fishing because no one wanted to fish either. So
it kind of worked in the long run, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think my first coil experience, interesting enough, was that I think that one I had a group. We just did a shout, like me and my girlfriend at the time. We did a shouts. We joined a shout group, and I was still tank at the time. And we went through, and I think eventually we did do turn 5, and we did got there. And man, having to deal with Titania and didn't like understand half the things that were going on. I was like, what the hell is this? Twisters? What are y'all talking about?
Yes.
Like, I was so confused with this first group. And I was, Pal at the time as such, that stuff hits hard. All the coil hits hard. And
it crits.
Yeah, but what's so funny is I never cleared it on Paladin. I actually ended up having to later on, because I actually was in that same situation for the first turn, 1 through 5. I actually had to swap over to Bard because we also ran the same problem of like too many tanks and healers. And it was like, well, I guess I'm on Bard. Here's me, this big ass row, shooting arrows.
I love that.
And so we did get our we got the clear. Obviously, we got the clear of it, like, obviously, when it was echoed before, like, this, the second turn came out. Because at the time, of course, you weren't able to go do some class, and congratulations, you get the second tier. You actually had to clear these tiers before to even get to the next tier, which was rough. Eventually, I got to leave that group. I ended up making my own group for second and third turns. Always remembering the second turn 7 being a nightmare. Because Bard had to kite off the ad.
Hello.
Like,
they refused to let me do that at one point, so they had one person who did it really well. That's why. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that's what people just end up doing. It's like, all right, I'm gonna kite it. We're gonna kite it. Like, I think we didn't have to worry about that. I was the tank at that point. I was the main tank. We had all tank warriors. So I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about anything here. Boss is hard, but and then we got to And I thought 8 was simple. 9 was a whole other fiasco. Ravenspeak hurts. I think I did I did a run as a scholar because we wanted to change it up a bit. And I was like, yeah, I'm not healing this. No, I can't keep up. So I'm good.
That makes sense.
I was like, nope, I can't keep up. I'm good. I'll go back to being a tank. So there was that. And then the final coil. In final coil, I was paladin. I got through the first 3 fights. Like, okay, there were moments. Turn 11 had its moments. This is the turn 10. But turn 13, even with a paladin who had basically 50% block and 35% parry, because 50% block was the max, it still hurt. Bahamut still hurt.
There's a legend. We don't have it. I don't think I have it anymore. There was a legendary clip that one of my friends had. Like I said, I mentioned that. I mentioned on, at least on my side with our group, that our group had the same people, like not the same people, but it's just swapped out people. So the existence of our raid group has stayed since Coil. We had one of our friends at the time who went down to literally 1 HP, no home gang, no nothing, 1 HP because of Bahamut.
Oh,
and
no.
And he lived, freaked out, and he's not the type to freak out, but it was like just a thing of like looking and being so shocked because he had 1 HP without no home gang. He was a warrior, but he did not have home gang at the time, and it was just 1 exactly 1 HP because of Bahamut.
Oh my god, that would be scary. My god. Was there any other? Is that base you said you stopped at turn 2, right? Was that like the last?
Oh,
one?
No. I did do the rest of him. So I had a group that I met a group of people who were also in Hawaii, and we just ended up becoming friends. I found some of the closest friends at the time, like with randomly in 14 as it goes. So they kind of adopted me, and they had their own raid group, but if they needed like help with like extremes, they would bring me in. And at one point they wanted me in the raid team, but because I had such an adjusting schedule, I'm like, I can't dedicate my time to this. So a couple of things I remember is I keep and I still have the Allegan like visor of aiming from T2 because that shit never dropped for me. And I had to go when it opened to duty finder. I had to duty finder, and obviously what people know is like whatever you got dropped, that's it. Like you didn't get totems like they do now. You had to wait a whole week and then wait for it to happen again. And when that thing finally opened up in duty finder, I still spent a month after farming every single day. Like you could go back and try get it again, but I had to go over and over, and that thing still took a month for me to drop. And I was so pissed, and I refused to get it out of my inventory or my retainer because I know how much, I love how it looks, but I was just like, I'm getting this thing, I'm keeping this thing, I'm never taking it off.
Yep. I was keeping it now, it's now mine.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Especially
it
one item,
me...
Keeper's Hymn.
Exactly. I have a couple of items that I'm like, I refuse to get rid of because I remember, like, the nostalgia is there. But yeah, this group helped me all the way up to T7. And I did not beat T8 or 9 until I took a hiatus from the game around after T7 because I was still filling in to help for them. I wasn't like an actual raid member, so I didn't have any commitments. But I took a hiatus for Destiny 1, and I came back when 3rd Coil was out, and that's when I didn't beat Coil on content, but like it was kind of after when they started implementing stuff before the next expansion. They're like, oh, we'll go back and get you your like at least 1 clear so you can like get through it. So like, okay, cool. So I stopped at T7, did a little bit of T8, came back and did 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 like once with them. And I think at least from 1 to 8, I still remember the mechanics really well, like even to this day. 9 I still kind of do just because we did it so many times with others, and you kind of have to do the mechanics to progress through the fight. But 10, 11, 12, and 13, it's still very hazy because I only did it a couple times. But if you ask me anything about mechanics from 1 to 1 to 9, I pretty much remember all of it still to this day, years later.
No, I get that. I mean, I had to do that, like, even with, like, Unsynced at level 80 on all of mine.
Yes.
So I go, like, oh, I now remember how to do this in a sense. So I actually run around, have to place all the meteors down, and knew the time of how to do it. So I was, like, going through it, just like, damn, you know, I actually had to do still in the comics, at least at, like, level 80 Viper. But, like, I didn't test the level 100 White Mage, because my White Mage is 100, but I'm still wearing Rumbleborn gear, so...
I have a funny thing, actually, like, a funny story that we have is that, one of the VTuber friends that I have, he's kind of a bigger VTuber, so he could definitely get, like, he was going through 14 for the first time with his friend, who was also new, and they were getting a whole bunch of people together, and they decided to do coil synced.
Oh.
They decided to coil minimum eye level synced, I believe.
Oh.
So me and Etu and I have both been playing this game for a very long time. We're in their chat and we're freaking out. And Etu knew them a little bit better than I did. So because we're like, me and Etu looked at each other. We're like, we need one person who knows these mechanics, because they're going to struggle and not get past any of these unless someone tells them what to do and someone directs them. And Etu's our raid leader, so she already does this normally. So I was like, okay, go. And Etu didn't do coils on content, so she didn't have a really good idea of the mechanics. So she's explaining what to do to them while also messaging on me on the side, like, is this correct? Can you fact check this? And I was like, yes, I'm fact checked. So, like, there was certain times where I think there were certain mechanics where, like, in T1 the snakes all combined and we started freaking out. It was like, they need to kill it, like, right now. And it's like, they're all like, oh look, it's like, everyone, because it's on stream and stuff, they're like, oh look, this is awesome, like, you know, we're killing it. And literally all of us on the side are freaking the fuck out, like, what the fuck's going on with it? Like, I think T5, they got up to T5 and it took like maybe an hour or two to do T5 with them from scratch, and to trying to teach them twisters, dive bombs, all that stuff. So they got through dive bombs. And then that clockwork, not the clockwork knight. It's like that little thing with wings where it binds you and starts walking towards you, and you have to stun it and kill it, right? And they're like happily going on, and of course Twister happens. They're all like, she's like, oh look, this thing is coming out, and me and Etu are freaking out. They're like, kill it. Like, we need to do, like, they don't understand what the horrors are happening. So they're like, they're all like cheery, and we're like panicking and freaking out. Like, we know what this entails. Like, please kill it. Like, that was the entirety of that experience of trying to teach people on the side, like, how to do coils, because they're like, they want to do the sync. They were like, someone has to be there. Like, there's no way that they're going to do this blind. Absolutely not, because they're also very sprout, so they don't know mechanics. They don't know, like one of the not the VTubers there, but another one of their friends that was in there didn't know positionals. What positionals were as a monk.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure, because that sounds like I've seen someone another streamer similarly wanted to go through and do the same thing. They went through the mid eye level and did that too, which was very interesting to see, because he got groups together. But yeah, I could always imagine y'all, like, I could always see it. It's just that, like, two sides of the coin. There's one that you just kind of see, yay, look at it, we're doing the content, guys, we're doing the thing, yay! Everybody else, oh my god, no, this is not going right. No, we gotta make sure this is done right. We gotta do it this way. Gotta do that.
In the background, there's like chaos and fire, and in the front of the house, it's all fine. You know, that like, and then like everything works out, and you see everyone on the back house, like, you know, close to dead, because, you know, they were doing all the work to pull everything together.
That's great. That's amazing. So we're gonna go ahead. We'll go jump in, and we'll go ahead and talk about the next raid series here, which is in Heaven's Ward. Just go ahead and swap over. Do a quick swap over. All right, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Alexander series. So what were your feelings about, because this is actually the time that basically now you got two difficulties instead of, like, the coils, which was just one full-fledged difficulty, minus the Savage tier they released back then, but that doesn't really count because that was for titles.
So Alexander tier is probably my favorite raid tier, and that's only due to nostalgia. Because this is where I actually started raiding. Like, I actually got a raid team at this point, and that was at the last tier. But I was still filling in for my group of friends. I pretty much cleared 1 and 2 in Party Finder, like shout chat still. 3 was 3, as we all know. So I barely got to actually do anything in that fight and clear it. And I heard what a Nightmare 4 was, and I got to dip my toes, but never actually like get more into it. And I knew about a lot of the mechanics. Like I knew the major mechanics. I knew like Nisi and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
5 through 8 is I was still learning. I did 5 and 6 with a group of friends. I did a little bit of 7 as a fill, but it was mostly 5 and 6, and I was still kind of back and forth, like doing Party Finder and like shout chat. Definitely for 5, because 5 was relatively straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
6 was a little bit tricky because you obviously have to do each one of them, like because it's the Voltron robots, you have to do each of them, and if you fail you have to start from the beginning, so it's a little rough.
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't really join the group at the time, and 8 was like 8, so I didn't really get to do that. 9 through 12 is probably still my I'm biased because obviously that's when I got my raid team, and I said, hey, I can dedicate this time to raid now because I can make my own schedules. So 9 to 12 is always my favorite because that was like, oh, I learned how to heal during this time. I don't know, I could show like chat at another time, but I still have my healer notes from 12 written down. I actually have a folder in my hard drive of literally all my healer notes because one of my friends from ARR was a healer main, and he quit the game in Heaven Sword, but he passed down a lot of his knowledge. He was a really good healer. I met him in Titan hard mode, and he was the first healer to actually help me clear Titan hard mode, because as a tank in Titan hard, you just stand there and it's literally 1 2 3 1 2 3 flash, 1 2 3 1 2 3 flash, and watch all of your party members fall off the edge to landslide. That's the fight.
Yes.
As a tank, you don't need to learn any of the mechanics. You just need to dodge tank things. If you accidentally get hit by a bomb in the face, oh well, you're a tank, and you just watch all of your other people in your party who don't know how to do mechanics fall off a landslide, and you just stand there. I'm like, I'm never gonna get this clear. I'm just standing here.
Right.
Until you actually go on a DPS or healer, you're like, oh shit, now I actually have to learn this fight. I don't know how to do this fight. I just stood there and took everything. But I met that person in Titan Heart, and I was like, wow, he's a really good healer because he can dodge, he can keep me alive. The other healer was off the edge and he solo healed me alive, and I was like really impressed. And he came from World of Warcraft and 11. Okay. So I already knew he had like a really good healer background. And before he left, he had another of my friends, Aya Winnis, who later became my co-healer, like teach a lot of the healing knowledge to him, and eventually he kind of taught me. And Winnis is a very crass person, doesn't sugarcoat stuff, but he said, like, when I did my trial for the raid team, I had to do Sophia EX, and he said, if I don't like you as a healer, because he came off of another rough co-healer, but he's like, and he knew me personally for years at this point, and he said, if I don't like you as a healer, I'm not gonna approve of you being my healer. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was trying to teach me stuff on White Mage, and because he was a scholar main, and Astro got buffed. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go back to Astro, because Astro was a little rough to play it when it released, and it had a lot of changes, and it was still like not raid ready, really raid ready. Like if you were playing Astro, it's because you had a group that let you play Astro. So that patch right before the last tier of Alexander came out, Astro got hella buffed. And I was like, I'm going back to Astro. I refuse to play White Mage because I don't know how to play White Mage. I know how to play Astro. I just don't play it in content. I was playing Scholar at the time, but you couldn't double Scholar or anything at the time. And so I was like, oh, we need a healer for Alexander. So I switched back to Astro, and he was teaching me stuff. And so the trial came along for Sophia EX, and this motherfucker was off the edge every single time. She slams that thing, he's off. He's also drunk, by the way. So he was drunk. healing this, and he kept on falling off the edge. And then the raid leader, the dude, like these are the same people that I was like that were bringing me in and subbing me in for places. So they already kind of knew that I was gonna be there anyway. But they're like, yeah, you know, consider you healed this entire fight without a cold healer. I think you're good to go. I'm like, okay, cool. So
that's amazing. Yeah. That sounds fantastic. So to so you kind of see my just so you know what I got going.
Of course.
So real quick, so 1 through 4. I personally ever only got to A1S. Unfortunately, we got to the oppressor itself. False was always a big problem because we just could never beat the DPS shit, and that was always a pain. And I was still playing Paladin at the time, and I think
that's so rough. That's so rough.
Yep. Because I didn't think about the Warrior and Dark Meta at the time. I still wanted to play Paladin, so I kept playing Paladin, but man, it was brutal. And I think the only way it would have changed is if I actually swapped to Dark Knight, but I didn't really want to play Dark Knight at the time. I was stubborn, but I did later on switch over to Warrior, but for a different group, because I left that group after we did content. So I went and jumped into another group. They got me my clear of 4S, so I got my mount. But then we did 5 through 8 together. Joining the group, funny enough, before I even got to be an official member, they put me through trial. And the way they put me on the trial was Thornton Extreme. I'd never done it before.
Oh my god.
I was literally thrown into Thornton Extreme as my trial. And I remember when we did it, we had it looks like at the time, you know, he was some big streamer jumped in our group. And this was back when Party Finder was still only like world only.
Yep.
So there's a big streamer joined our group. And I didn't really know, like, there was like, oh my god, this person joined the group. And I was like, huh? What? And because my FC was talking about at the time. We were all in TeamSpeak, and they were talking about it. And so I had to jump in. I jumped on Twitch. I kind of pulled them up to the side as we were doing the mechanics, and I was trying to figure it out on my own. The good news, we did manage to clear it. But this particular streamer was calling me out, going like, "What are you doing, dude?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm literally just been put on this on the fly. I don't know what I was gonna put. Okay." But the group, I said I did pass the trial, so I got with the group. They helped me get my mount from 4, and then we did we went through A5, A4, A5 and A6. Unfortunately, A6S, we ended up breaking up the group, though we just got to the end. We were pretty much at the final, the final of the 4. All we had to do is pass that, we would have been on 7. And yeah, the group just fell apart. There was some drama happening in the group.
Of course.
And I was like, great, cool, this is fantastic. So we ended up remaking the group for the last and final tier. And we got to we actually got to A12S. Then the group fell apart again. And I was a warrior. But I will proudly say, that was the only tier I did swap to Scholar, which was my go-to healer at the time, and managed to clear A9S and A10S. And that felt really good because I was like, cool, okay, I can heal. And my people in my group were like, you know, what is this that you can't do? I don't know. I don't even know if I still can heal to this day. I don't think I'm a great healer. But that's okay. That's why I'm actually trying healing for Evercold. But, you know, it's just one of those things that's just so funny to me. I think of those memories. Especially because the thing was, I was excited to play Scholar more, because I was doing the relic for it, and then I already did my relic for my warrior at this point. I got up to speed. My Scholar, I was trying to get up to speed, and it got to I think I got to like the Umbre and Crystal Sand stage at the time, whatever it was. And the group was like, "Oh no, we need you back with warrior." I went, "Oh, okay." Speaking of,
I will say if people are unsure in chat, like A10S is actually a really it's not an easy fight to heal at the time. So it was very difficult. So the fact that you could do it is very impressive. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in that fight. Like, it's like M9S, but on crack.
Yes.
Even more on crack.
Oh yeah, no, definitely for sure. I definitely agree. Because I definitely did like the fact I got to do both healing and tanking mostly for those Sad I couldn't beat any of the tiers on content. Of course, I went back and got 12 on content. Oh no, not 12 on content, but I went back and got 12 later on, got the mount from it. But yeah, unfortunately, I never really got to complete 4 on. Well, I guess you could say 4 technically was completed on content because it was the tier after. But 8 I couldn't complete. But 8 was like one of my favorite fights because Brute Justice. Come on now, who couldn't beat that music?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's like one of the only fights to this day that we tried to go back to do it and we haven't cleared it. So it's like a vengeance point of
Yes.
like, damn, we one day we'll clear this like on sync or something like that. So
All right.
there's a lot to that fight.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to Stormblood, the Omega series. We'll be
Yes.
back for a little bit. Alrighty, folks, we have returned, and now we're gonna go ahead into the main question here for Stormblood is the Omega series. What was your rating time, Foy? What did you enjoy about rating in Omega, if you have?
So I always talk about my favorite fights in the mega tier. This was like my first tier that I actually completed entirety from like 1 to 12 on content.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite fights to this day still in the mega series is O3S, so Halicarnassus. Because of how random that fight is and how much you had to adjust, and the uniqueness of the mechanics is really neat. So O3S is still my top tier of like my favorite fights in that series, followed by O11S, which is like everyone kind of like figures that's like the other big one because it's obviously Omega and has a lot of like defining mechanics. But I didn't really like a lot of the things this tier, the decisions that they did. A lot of my favorite fights came from like the second to the last fights of the tier, so O3S, O7S, and O11S, mostly because the last fights were always like, oh, here's the, and I know this is a common thing of what people talk about, like Stormblood raids. Like Stormblood raids were not bad. It's just that the fights felt very short because it's like, oh, you get to like Neo X Death and you do Grand Cross and you do Grand Cross Omega and then you go back to Grand Cross Alpha and it's literally the same thing. So we hit the top of the roller coaster and we're going down the roller coaster because it's already the same thing as what you dealt with. You just have to do it again. Same for like Forsaken in Kefka. It's like, oh, you do Forsaken, like the third Forsaken. It's the next Forsaken is literally the same thing. Forsaken 1 is like still like probably my favorite thing because it, you know, like a lot of mechanics in Kefka was really neat. It really defined that entire raid series, really defined myself as being a healer. Is I learned a lot of like healer traps and what they were planning to do. For example, a healer trap is like putting your HP to like 1 and like putting an it's like putting the party's HP to 1 and scaring you into trying to heal the party. But realistic, what you should be doing is healing the tank and only the tank instead, because the tank's gonna get autoed or like something's gonna happen. So like things like that, like, you know, it's like you get scared. Most beginner healers get scared because they say, oh, everyone's low HP, I need to heal everyone. But like realistically, you need to focus. There's no damage coming out. There's no AoEs coming out that's gonna kill everyone else. If AoEs were coming out, then yes. But like a lot of the cases in Kefka was like, here's scary thing. I put your HP to 1, and like the scariest thing was protecting the tanks at that time because of how the autos were. But most of the fights were just the same thing after a certain point.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, because I did touch O1S briefly. I think I got to like the 49% in Party Finder, and then that was kind of like it for my rating experience in Savage for basically Stormblood. There is one more thing that did come out during that time, was the first Ultimates, the first 2 Ultimates.
Yes.
So, Foil, UCOB and Uwu. Have you touched any of those on content?
We did touch Coil. So we did Unending Coil Bahamut with my group at the time when it came out. Our raid members were a little bit older dudes, like old-fashioned. They're older than us by like at least like 8 to 10 years, but they're also like they've been playing from the beginning, so they were used to the mechanics of the beginning, and that was their first raid tier. So when they saw the ultimate, they tried it, but it wasn't their favorite thing. I loved it. That was actually when I started streaming, is around 04, and then when Coil came out, I started doing like streaming or like recording stuff. So a lot of my clips, there's a lot of clips of like my Hawaii latency. Like some of my first clips on my channel are watching Fireball come out and me sitting in the stack in the middle of everyone and just me dying because it registered me ages ago that I was out of the stack. So you see it hit and you just see me dead and everyone's like, why are you dead? I was like, I don't know, I was in the stack. So like, yeah, they gave up after a while. So we only got through Twintania, barely through Twintania, I think. And then we only got to get our vengeance later, but I'm sure we'll talk about it. But we didn't touch we didn't touch Ukab after that first try. Or the raid team that we had at the time didn't really want to do ultimate, so
gotcha. That's completely fair, understandable. I said I never really got the experience those firsthand, so I just always was interested to see how it was when it first was to be. So all right, next up we're gonna go ahead into Shadowbringers, which brings us, we're gonna be talking about T, and we're gonna be talking about Eden. So give us just a moment, we'll be back. Alrighty, so we are now in Shadowbringers territory, and we're mostly going to be focused on the raiding aspects as we have the last few expansions. I do want to ask one real short fire question here before we talk about the raids themselves. What is your feelings about the tactical points finally being removed from the game and our MP being set as a 10k base?
So this was like when, sorry, the question was when TP was, this was when TP was removed. Yeah. So it was awesome because I was already a mage. So, you know, whatever, like I didn't care about TP. The only thing that it didn't like is that it nerfed sprint. So whatever, like that sucked. But you know, I wasn't a huge fan of, like, I liked TP for what it was because it kept my cards the way it was, and then they decided to take away all my card identity for Astro. So it was like, okay, but I understand from like a melee point of view, like it was kind of a useless, like it was nice for the fact of melees because I did feel like it was a useless bard and a useless resource to have that wasn't really necessary. But it just nerfed all the casters in the long run. But like, I can't really complain because it's like, if I was gonna plan to like change to like a melee class, like TP is just a stupid concept, honestly. So I understand, it was fine, but I'll bitch about the MP part, but I won't. I won't like care about it too much because I understand why it had to be done. So
okay. So now we'll go ahead and yeah, because I would say it was definitely a interesting move. I mean, I definitely think it was needed. More accessibility to the game, which now allowed us to bring more players to play and try it out. So I think it was definitely a necessity, and I still think it's probably one of the best moves I have made. And Shadowbringers did a lot of that. They started bringing a lot more, which I think in a sense kind of helped bring a little bit more difficulty in content, kind of, I think. So, but we'll have to see how the feelings are. We're going to go ahead and we'll talk about the Eden raids now. What are your feelings on those?
I think it was hard for me. Like, I did enjoy the Eden raids. A lot of the last tier Eden raids were fun. Titan, at this point, I started to not really like, and still to this day, I actually do not like gated fights. Like, you know, what we currently have is like our phased fights is like you beat phase 1, you get to phase 2, and then if you die, you start from the start of phase 2. I'm not a fan of that, just from like, you know, raid time setting is like, oh, you know, you spend all this time trying to get through to phase 2, and if you don't make it, then, you know, say if we are like, you know, on a raid time, like, you know, we're trying so hard to get to phase 2, we finally get to phase 2, and oh boy, there's 20 minutes of raid left. And now it feels like, oh, it's like now we have to start from the beginning and do all this again and try to get to this phase and make most of our time. But I never really liked the concept of it. I just like a straightforward fight. And I think that's why I really liked Titan, Titan's pacing. for E4S. I think that was a really good paced fight for what it did, and it didn't feel like it dragged on too long for me. Most of the phased fights, even to this day, like I get really jaded from it because I'm really tired of it because they saw this nice little gimmick thing since, you know, Stormblood, and they kept it all the way up to here. I stopped really like before I was a dirty parser at the end of Stormblood, but it wasn't like oh, I want to be better than all these people, like, you know, be the top of our server. I parsed because I wanted to be better than all these other people that I knew that were like boasting about it and being shit at the game. Like someone I knew was like, oh yeah, I'm a really good Astro, and they would only card and buff themselves and let their party die. So my whole entire existence from like parsing was like, I'm going to be a better healer, like parse better than you, and I'm going to make sure my party lives and card the right people at the right time. But then after that, I was just like, okay, I hit my peak. I was fighting these people and I don't care anymore. And so like Shadowbringers was like kind of like cruising at that point. I was already solidified at that point as being a really like decent healer with a lot of my friends, so they would ask me to like come in and help. But like I think this was the start of like the plateau of my raiding stuff, where I'm like, okay, I'm here to raid, and I enjoy healing. I still enjoy healing. I refuse to get off Astro. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So yeah, mine is very. So I didn't do the first tier and it came out because I was kind of in that phase of. I didn't really go into it too much in Stormblood, but that was the phase that kind of was, like I said, I was kind of in and out of the game, so I didn't really like touch it as much. But then I came back, and even like the first tier didn't really touch. But I did go into basically 5 through 8, and I did do 9 through 12, and so 5 through 8, I'm actually on Gunbreaker. I changed from Paladin or Warrior at that point and went Gunbreaker. So I still kept tanking, but I'm now playing a whole new different tank.
Yeah.
That's a lie. Technically E5S, I cleared on Dark Knight because I had a friend that was really adamant to be on Gunbreaker. So I went Dark Knight, but then when that person left, I got to be Gunbreaker, and I was happy. I was like, yes, I get to play the job I want to actually play. And so we beat the fights of 5 through 7. We never got to beat 8, unfortunately. Our group was just having issues. People were leaving. People were having problems left and right. It was just it was just okay. You know what? It is what it is. And then we moved on to 9 to 12. Actually, I started playing around with the idea of having a second character to play, to try out Summoner and in raiding at the time. And I was playing Gunbreaker for my main group. The second group, I was playing Summoner because I was just testing it out. Unfortunately, my group I made together, only ever got to maybe about I think they finished E11S, fine, got the clear, so they go to 12. I had to leave because my schedule at work was changing, and honestly it was better for me because I was also just kind of stressed out too much that like my one and this other new group I joined was probably a bit faster than the main group was, and I was trying to push that. So the second group I jumped in and joined, they basically we managed to beat the tier, and it was great. I was like, okay, cool. I finally beat E12S. I beat that. It's like I haven't beaten a fight on content since Coil. This felt good because I haven't touched. For sure. I didn't beat anything megas on content, and I didn't beat the first 2 tiers on content. So beating this on content, I didn't care if it was with Echo. I just felt great. It's like, you know what? I'm just glad I finally cleared, and I cleared on a job that is probably the hardest job to do it on, which is Summoner, because that rotation was 3-minute rotation at least. It was like so many buttons to press. It's so much time.
For sure. I think there's something special like for everyone. It's like the first real tier that you've cleared. Like I think it just like it kind of solidifies like no matter which tier you cleared, but like when you fully clear one tier on your own, like, and achieve that, like it kind of sets something for you, honestly. Like it kind of triggers something in your mind, like this is the tier, like this is the beloved tier for you because it's like this is the one I cleared on and I did everything and stuff like that.
I mean, granted, I did it with Coil. I did clear on concept with Coil, and that was like felt amazing. Oh my god! I actually.
But like once as well.
Yeah, when you eat the 12. Yeah, it feels so good now.
Yeah.
Definitely. Alrighty. Real quick, we'll talk about tea. Did you happen to jump into tea?
Oh yeah, did I jump into tea? This is probably the one thing that most of the people like know us for, honestly. We were attempting to do tea since it released, and I think we cleared it the like a little bit after when the last tier came out for Shadowbringers for Eden. And everyone has to remember that was during COVID. So the tiers of the fights came out at a longer pace than most of the other ones. So it took us even longer than the normal like 3-month in between to clear T. We went through a lot of roster changes. There was also where we started like making a lot of memes of our group. Our group's called Midcore Stupid. It was solidified. So the term Midcore Stupid came because we did a lot of to this day we tried to do a lot of the fights as blind as we could. So for Savage and stuff like that. So it makes it so when we figure out mechanics, when we bring in anyone else to come in, we don't do PF standard. We do whatever we figure it out, or we figured out the mechanic for, figured out our own thing. So, and whenever people would come in, they're like, God, what are you guys doing? Or like, this is how we do it. So people just called us like, oh, midcore stupid, because we're a midcore group. And the way that we did some things were just like very weird and dumb and things like that. So, it became a lot of our memes to this day. We had a lot, and I mean an insane amount of disconnects and like things that would prevent us from even rating. I'm trying to find it. I actually, to this day, because of how stupid it was, I actually made a document of like every single day of prog after we brought in our last person to fill for us. And make the roster that actually cleared T. So I actually cataloged it. We started, I pulled it up actually, August 5th of 2020. We cleared January 6th of 2021.
Oh, wow.
We did a total of 1,737-ish pulls. I'm missing about 50 plus pulls. There was 11 total days of missed raid. There were 3 hospital visits, 3 neighbor/roommate incidents, with 2 of them having police involved, 18 incidents of either ending early or someone subbing, 13 instances of technical difficulties or ISP. It took us a total of 61 days. 61 days to clear. With one of them, we went for an 8-hour raid day on a Saturday, and everyone got pissed at that. We had, to this day, my partner, who was there at the time as a Dark Knight, he gets triggered at 3,000 HP because that was one of our Perfect Alexander wipes. Literally a dot tick away. Literally had a dot tick away, and we wiped at like 0.1%, and it was like 3,000 HP, and you'll never forget that. It will always be brought up eventually. We have a lot of memes of my co-healer, has never touched any healing before. We brought him in because he was so tired, because we always had to find co-healers. He's like, screw it, I'll play White Mage. He's been a Dragoon main since we've known him. Like any DPS main before that, mostly Dragoon. And we have a memory of him saying, hey, or of us going like, hey, Throttle's coming up in Living Liquid. He's like, what? And he sees Throttle pop up, and he goes, that's so many people. That's so many people. It's like, yeah. It's like, that's how it goes. I have like random notes of him. We have so many of like clips from RT days of like all the memes showing up, like but there were some instances where he didn't know that Cure 1 and Cure 2 were 2 separate things. He thought it upgraded from like Cure 1 to Cure 2, and then you only use Cure 2, or like, no, it's separate things. And Cure 3 being Cure 3 was like, it's not upgradable, it's separate things. So we had to teach him a lot of stuff. And it was a miracle that we actually cleared T. Halfway through us progging T, they changed both Astro and Monk. So when we're close to the end of clearing T, Etu had to relearn their entire rotation. While we're close to the end of T, we have plenty of clips of like, oh, you know, we're about to pull, and someone just instantly disconnects.
Oh
Um,
no.
Yeah, there was like one day I think that one of our raid members was working a 16, close to 16-hour shift. Another person was in the hospital for COVID, and another person was in Australia, and there was the wildfires at the time, so it was all happening at the same time. So that was part of the hospital visit thing. But yeah, it was just here's all of this. Like one of the incidents that we couldn't raid, or we did raid, we just heard it in the background. Is like, oh, like my roommates are fighting someone else with a neighbor, and they pulled out a 9 gauge, and we're like, what?
What
Are you okay? Yeah. And yeah, so this is why I ended up cataloging what happened in T. And it was our defining point in our raid career.
That is insane. That's crazy. That's crazy. I said I never really touched T on content. I got to it later. I'm still trying to go back and reclear the fight. I got in close I did an Endwalker actually, and I got in close. I got to like 6%, but unfortunately the group I was with just kept kind of like haggling on, and some of them kept just saying it was my fault and stuff like that, so it brought me down and quite a lot. Yeah, and it was to a point like I'm trying to pick it up and trying to figure it out, and I try to look up videos and try to cram it in, but I just couldn't like cram it in like as quickly because I have to kind of see it first. Unfortunately, that's what kind of holds me back a bit. It's like until I see that mechanic so many times, I'm not gonna get used to it, because everyone says that's when it's home free. I'm glad it's home free.
No,
I still have to figure it out to make sure how I compute it, to make sure I know, okay, this is how I'm gonna handle it. So that's like the downside. Don't get me wrong, like these fights are amazing, like all these Ultima fights. But yeah, I'm hoping to get back to Peak Party Finding later this year, and hopefully get the clear before and Evercold. That is one of my goals. Like I say, you
can set a. I forgot to mention one of the same co-healer that I had. This is a legendary story that we have, and he said way before, he's like, he had no hope that we were ever going to clear T. So he said, if we ever see Wormhole, I'm going to eat a small box of crayons. We saw Wormhole.
Oh yeah.
He kept true to his promise, and we have a video of him eating a small box of crayons.
Oh my god.
And I think he did say that the orange one sucked the most, or is his favorite one. It's one or the other, but he specifically mentioned the orange one. But he had a video, he put a video, and to hide his face, he put a ski mask on and a cowboy hat, and you see him like shoving crayons into his mouth. He's not even unwrapping them. He's just eating the crayon with the shell on, as we say.
That's crazy.
So T is the crayon eating saga of our raid tier.
Yeah, I got as a 6% on Perfect Alex is where I got to. So I know I'm close.
Yeah, so you're close.
I just gotta get
You're
back.
just there.
I'm there. That's why I try to go back and do it to Party Finder, which I'll do late in the end of the year. All right.
Yeah, just go easy.
Yeah, it's fine. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get ready to go into Endwalker. Just give us a couple of seconds. We'll be right back. Alrighty, we are back, and now we're into the Endwalker portions of rating. So the very first question I'm going to be asking about is the Pandemonium raids. What were your feelings about them?
I think this was also a lot of the, like, I feel like I'm getting I have not stopped raiding, I would say, since the like coils, like Heaven Sword days, like off and on, but like since joining the group at the end of Heaven Sword, I have not stopped raiding. So at this point I was kind of more jaded towards the fights, because I felt like there's I've seen a lot of mechanics that they've done, and at least these are neat. Like I think a lot of the time I was enjoying was mostly with hanging out with, other people and playing the raids with other people more than the raids themselves. So I think the story was okay. I just felt more like, oh, I'm just here to heal and things are gonna happen. And I don't really have a lot of like notable things. The only thing I think I really cared about the raids was that as much as people hated Phoenix, Macrocosmos made me feel like a fucking god. So I will take that one and only that one.
Nice.
But everything else was like, okay, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, Pandemonium. This is again. I got to clear at least the first tier. I didn't get to clear the last 2 tiers, unfortunately, but the first tier I cleared. This is actually the group I cleared it with, and we tried to go do T, and then everything happened with T. As I got to 6% on Perfect Alex, I know I could definitely do the fight. I just got to go back into PF and do it again. I think the only thing, other than that, the last 2 were just kind of like, I had groups, and this kind of also made me realize the decision of, maybe I'm better off just being more in the party finder warrior, and that's what I am. But I will definitely go and help statics and groups if people need it. To be part of a team, though, on the other hand, I just don't think it's for me. So,
That makes sense.
And that's why, like, I don't mind. I'll jump in and help anybody. That's just what I do in a heartbeat. But I definitely am one of those people I've learned that maybe don't be part of a static, because there's a certain mindset I have. And it's not bad. It's not necessarily like everybody's bad at game, whatever, blah blah blah. I just want people to be clear. It's just my mindset's a little more different. I have a little bit more of a.
Of course.
I like to push a lot harder than most groups I've joined and whatnot. So there's a little bit more of my own mindset there. Now with that, what about we'll talk about the first ultimate that came out, DSR.
So I think this is where we started. Well, I think actually at the end of Shadowbringers, I forgot, we actually did go back and clear Ukab and U at that time. So the Shadowbringers here we did it. So DSR was like our first like actual like oh, we can just kind of jump into DSR and it's already out kind of thing. Because obviously we did T and it took a while, but it's like, oh, we can try to do this. And I think like for us, we did the double scholar strat for a long time. We did it for like a couple hours after it came out with like a group of friends, and we got to like obviously the next phase. But we did try to get a static, or our static did attempt to do DSR. We didn't clear it. We had a couple roster changes, but the farthest we got was Double Dragons, and we actually were at the end of Double Dragons, and then the next tier came out, and then people wanted to do the tier and they didn't want to do DSR. So I definitely want to go back into DSR very badly, but I know that for our group, I know they're experiencing like maybe a little bit of like raid burnout, and they don't really want to. They're raid logging, and most people are. So I would like to go back into DSR as a group, but I think that one's going to be like I have to find this on my own time, or find a couple people who want to do it. But I do like the fight. I do like the mechanics a lot, like thematically and like what it is. It's just like it's one of those things, another one of those, oh, I'll get to it eventually. But I really did enjoy being a scholar in that fight more than an Astro, surprisingly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I said unfortunately DSR is one of the ones I've yet to experience. Eventually it'll be one of my things, but I think right now when it comes to ultimates, I've said like, I need at least go finish T before I go anywhere else. So because I did also try to jump into Fru, we'll talk about that in Dog Trail. But yeah, so like right now I'm kind of more on the let me just focus on T, and then I'll kind of come back to the others.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the next ultimate that also came out in Walker was Top. Did you touch that?
I did a little bit. We only got to phase 4, so with Final Omega and the monitors and stuff like that. So we didn't spend too much time on that. We had another couple roster changes that happened. I don't like Looper. I don't think anyone likes Looper.
Yeah.
So the first part of it, I specifically changed to White Mage because, and this was before the current Astro change where light speed is really fucking good for movement. Trying to swift or like slide cast through Looper and Pantocrator is a very rough. So doing it on White Mage was at the time was so nice, and I only switched to White Mage for choice things and specific reasons, and top unfortunately was one of those things that I felt like, oh, it feels more comfortable doing it on a white mage than it does on Astro, because Astro is a very busy like class. It's like white mage on crack. You have to do more than just like, you know, pressing buttons to heal and then pressing glare and stuff like that. It's, you kind of have to do that, except you have to card people in between or throw your cards away, and like your 2 minutes are very busy because you have to card multiple people and stuff like that. So I specifically chose white mage to do that, and all I remember is getting screwed over by, you know, the other team and giving me like, there's a lot of clips of just me having like an inch of space to move between Pantocrator and that, and just realizing how much they really love making us do conga lines. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I can see that. I remember hearing the stories about Top, and I can definitely, I can only imagine. I'd be like, okay, that's fine. That's another one much later down the list. It's fine. I have others to worry about.
Yeah.
I just slowly am like, you know what? I'm actually finally feel I can go back in the ultimate. So I figure pick up an ultimate that I've already done before, do it, and then kind of go from there. But with that, we're gonna go ahead and head into the Dawn Trail portions. So give us a moment. We'll be back. All right, we are now on to Dawn Trail. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Raid series and the Ultimates here. Let's go ahead and talk about the Arcadian series.
I personally really like I have some favorites. Like I do enjoy Honeybee Lovely was very funny. I do enjoy a lot of the fight direction that they had this time around. It felt a little bit more refreshing than some of the previous tiers where I felt like, oh, okay, like this is more of the same thing. I actually felt them trying to do some different things with this raid tier. And I know that the battles, we'll talk about it soon, but like with the battle system changes, I'm excited for them to see like now if you have things like this, what can we do to push it further? So I really did enjoy a lot of the fights. We had a lot of funny memes this tier that I ended up making videos for because my raid team's silly. Specifically, our tank, we found out that we couldn't clear Honeybee Lovely because it was like 2 or 3% off, and we're like, man, we're really shit. And apparently we found out that our tank never melded.
Oh no!
So when we were wiping at 3%, we're like, wow, there's our 3%. It's like, and it's really funny is because someone's like, hey, here's your meld. And he's like, oh, I never melded. And we have that. And we still like, we have a lot of funny shit that happened. There was like some parts where same tank has trolled our Pictomancer at the time by requesting to meld at 5 seconds when the countdown's about to go off. So,
oh no.
So the pop-up shows up. Where was there was a instance in M4 where we were like as most of things go in M4 at the end, everyone was dead because we screwed up a mechanic, and it was just our paladin, same paladin that didn't meld, and he was the only person alive, and he was the one that killed the boss. Was like, oh, you had redemption for, you know, your melding incident. And then we found out after that he's like, hey, am I supposed to do this or this? He's asking one of our other people in our group, and we're like, yeah. And we found out he was doing the Shadowbringers rotation.
Oh.
This entire time.
Oh no.
So he was not doing his optimal rotation. Oh. And we're like, so when we were screwing up in Honeybee Lovely, you were not melded and you were doing the wrong rotation. Oh, so we're like, oh, maybe we feel a little bit better of ourselves and we're not completely trash at this game, that we can't clear certain fights. So
that's crazy. So from one little fun stories for me. So basically, M1 through M4 for the first tier, this is when I went full-fledged party finder, and I'll be really shocked with myself. I happened to managed to beat M1S and M2S on week 1. I thought I was always gonna get. I was like, I thought I was gonna get to beat M1S. No, I beat both M1S and M2S, and on a new class, Viper, because Viper happens to be my obsession now. thanks to the fact that it's Twin Blades, and Twin Blades is my favorite style. So I gotta play the class. I gotta do it. I gotta go. I had a friend that helped me. Thankfully, he was there too to help me out. I had a healer friend, so
That's good.
me and him both like went through Party Finder together and did like the whole fights together. Then M3S, we actually beat on week 2.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, yep. So me, him, and then 2 of our other friends, Revenant Alk, we went in together, and it was last pull magic. It was literally, this is gonna be the last pull, and this is gonna be, and then we did it, and we're like, yes. I was tempted to jump into 4 right away, but it was like, we'll take a little break before we go back into things. It's fine. And then M4S took us 3 more weeks, so we beat it on week 5. So we beat M4S in week 5, and we went and did our re-clears right after. To me, the fact I even did it in Party Finder, I felt really accomplished. I was like, oh my god, I didn't know I could do that in PF. Okay, good to know. I know where momentum and my things go. But the other 2 tiers, the second tier I skipped, mostly just because I burnt out, and I made a mistake with why I burnt out, because I tried to step into Fru in PF day 1. That was my biggest mistake, and I learned that fast. So I didn't do anything in the second tier to give myself a break. Third tier, I currently did more casually. I'm currently on M11S, so I'm hoping to go back into it.
Okay.
But M9S, I think it took like 2 weeks to. I think like M9S, I think took like only 2 weeks. I think we cleared on like our second week of actually attempting it. And then M10S took me a lot longer. It took longer because I was taking breaks in between, and every Party Finder I was getting in was getting stuck. Like, I wanted to get Split Arena Prog. Nope, they were getting stuck in snakes. Snaking.
Of course.
Snaking. Had to be constantly so, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, since we talked about it, Fru. What were your feelings on that, if you touched it?
At this point, we were, like, jumping into, ultimates, but not really like clearing them. So the farthest that we got was to phase 4, so Gaia.
Okay.
So I do like the fight, and I do want to clear it eventually. I think that the fight mechanics are really neat. Just we didn't really get too far into it, but I do enjoy the fight. I do enjoy the weapons. So
okay, yeah, because I did Fru, I did in PF, I almost got to phase 2 in PF. It was just it just kind of was to a point like, okay, I'm burning, I'm good. I think I'm gonna stop. Have you jumped into UMAD?
I have not. We have not. We just cleared 12. Like, we're still trying to get our clears through 12. It's been a little rough lately because we've been having like with most raid teams, it's always scheduling, like things are coming up with people. We had a point where we couldn't even raid our full 3 days, so we can only raid 2 days, and we had schedule changes and stuff like that, trying to adjust things. So we had members who had IRL commitments, so we haven't really had the chance to like fully like get like, you know, a full weeks of like, it's amazing if we get a full week to raid.
Right.
So with all of that, and we didn't really get our clears till like way late, and additionally, I think up to a certain point we were still blind progging. Like, we're still blind progging through all of this without having like our full raid days. So it took us a little bit longer. And then once we hit phase 2, we're like, screw it at this point. Just tell us, like, we're just gonna like figure it out. It's just taking like months for us to clear.
Yeah.
Because 11 also took a long time to like get through. So because we had a few roster changes and scheduling, so we were just like, we really need to just get through, because we were going through like 11, and trying to get the re-clears of 11 was really rough sometimes, because 11's just I will kind of like talk to people about this, but like some people like 11. I really don't like 11's fight design. I get it, but like personally for me, I just don't really like the direction they went with that fight specifically. It feels very like compared to the others, it just feels very bland in my opinion, and I'm just not a huge fan.
Yeah, and I heard usually that fight's really quick too. That's what it is. Like I just got to ML11S, and I can see how fast it's moving, and I picked up things a little more quick, but it's just like damn, there's still so much going on. So yeah, I can totally understand that. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and start talking about Evercold stuff. We'll be right back. Alrighty, folks, here we are. We're now going to talk about Evercold. That is going to be the new expansion that's be coming out. Obviously, it's not out yet. Guys, I know you're probably watching from the future on YouTube. It's not out at this point, so we're speculations all is happening here, okay? Okay, thank you. Anyway, alright. So let's go ahead and talk about some things here. First question I'd like to ask about is obviously right now we do dailies to basically kind of do our things that kind of, you know, just so we get our gear and whatnot. Now these dailies are becoming weeklies. What are your feelings about that?
I'm okay with that personally. Like, and this is just like personal opinion, just because I'm a very busy person, and as I've been playing this game since, you know, the start of ARR and stuff like that. It's like I don't have the same amount of free time that I used to do back in the day as I do now. Like, if this was me back in when I started 2.0, then yeah, maybe I would have different feelings. I would be like, oh, you know, but I can do all this. I have all this time. But now that I have so much responsibilities and things to do, and with work, it's like I understand why they need to do it now. A lot of, like, granted, they always want to bring more people in, but nowadays, like, a lot of our player bases have experienced this for so long. We're busier, lives are changing, things like that, more responsibility. Not everyone's like, you know, the 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds that started this game, like, you know, that majority of people who did. And it's like, well, a lot of it's like even adults, as we're growing older, it's like, yeah, we're bringing more people in, but like a lot of the majority of the player base has been playing this for a long time, and we're older now. So it's like, I understand their direction, and I don't have much like problems with it, because I like the fact that they're trying things differently again. I feel like they've gotten to a point of like design and monotony, and they really need to go back to what made 2.0 really good. It's like they looked at, you know, what was failing in 1.0 and said, hey, you know, this isn't working with us, and why we have to change it for 2.0. And I feel like that's kind of coming back a little bit with what they're doing. I feel like they've been doing a lot of small things here and there, but like this is the first time they're like, hey, we're changing literally a lot of things because we need to make a different direction for this game to accommodate its longevity.
Exactly. And I think honestly it's kind of a really good choice. I see it going dailies into weeklies. I think that's probably one of the coolest changes I see coming. I hope that we'll hear more details probably later on, but you know, with that being said, the combat system changes. We're getting the evolved combat system and the reborn system. Your feelings?
I need to see more, because they only showcased White Mage, and I feel like I can't really make a good decision on it until I see Astro, because I've been an Astro main since Heaven Sword. So I would like to see what they plan to do with it, if they're gonna change my cards again like they normally do. And I'm used to it, because like I tell people between me and Etu joke a lot of time, because Monk and Astro are always the two most ones that have changed like so much every single expansion. Like everything changes of it. My cards change every expansion, and I have to relearn them. So like what they do. So I'm already jaded to it, and I don't care on like if they do it again, but I just am curious on, you know, with this whole entire WeWork, like, are you changing it again? Are you keeping it? Are you taking it out? Like, it is the job's identity. So I really want to see what it is. Everything else, I don't have a huge foot in the door with other jobs. I'm more of a healer main for sure, but right now I mostly care about what they plan to do with Astro.
Got it. Okay. Now totally understand, and I totally get that. I definitely saw kind of, I guess I'm getting the gist of it probably with Viper, because Viper usually has the glowy buttons that more easily you could just press whatever or whatnot. But I mean, and then people do call it the brand. It is like, it's kind of like brainless, but I have a lot of fun with it, so I don't give a shit. So you know what I mean? Like, it could be raised, but I don't care. I love it only because Twin Blaze. I gotta look. It's my style.
Of course.
So at the end of the day, I definitely have to see what more is even involved. Like, already as this kind of get hint previews probably with Picto and with Viper. But maybe we'll see what they do even more with that.
Sure.
Next up, we know the next two jobs are only going to have evolved, which is the new Fizz range and new tank. We got Bastion, and then we getting clues is going to be probably Falconeer for the Fizz range. What are your feelings on the jobs?
I kind of like the concept of the like Bastion job. I'm not too sure yet, because like I never trust like what it's going to be for like the jobs until they release. I'm that type of person. Like I just wait to see what it is. Like people speculate, but I'm just gonna wait exactly and see what their vision is. I do love tanks. Like, it's a secret love for being a paladin, like paladin main, back in the day. Like, getting excited seeing another tank that's not like flashy sword again, like Gunbreaker. Like, I didn't feel anything for it when it got released, but like for some reason this one, because of how they're changing it, similar to how like we have pure healer and shield healers, and we have like a main tank and an off tank. Like, I'm interested in where they want to go with that, because it means that they can do different things with the jobs, like more focused things with the job, so maybe they can have a little bit more identity. I just don't want them to pigeonhole themselves into like, oh, now groups are going to be like, oh, we have to have this and only this. Like, obviously we see like double scholar things happening and all these like solo healer things happening. So hopefully it doesn't get to that point with the community, but that's like the community thing, not a dev thing that they can really control. So
yeah, no, exactly. It really comes down to how the community handles it and stuff like that, and that's what just kind of really is one of those. Let's just do this.
Yeah,
and it's very common, unfortunately, on MMOs in general, with all MMOs out there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just scary, because coming from like Stormblood, when like people used to like legitimately not take you if you were a monk, or like if you're a monk, you had to have this specific like jobs in your party. Like, I just don't want them to see like going down that route again, but it's really hard to balance things. So
Gotcha. Alrighty. Next up is they announced a new 8-man at the Berlin Fan Fest. What are your feelings about it?
I might have a controversial opinion. I don't care about 7 a lot. Like, I'm I like 7 as a game, as a series. I don't enjoy a lot of the fan base that gets really like close to toxic on, oh yeah, you have to like 7 as the best Final Fantasy, or your opinion is invalidated. So I am not a diehard 7 nerd like some people, and like some of the fandom has really like put me a little bit off-putting to like seeing it. Like, I'm excited for what they can do. I don't care about like the collab aspect of it. I think it's neat that they're doing something like that, but I know some people can get really like anal about like, oh, you have to like it, or you have to feel this certain way, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna enjoy it for what it is, honestly. So
As absolutely you should. And that's not actually. I kind of hear that a little commonly. There's some people who like they think they're looked at if you're looking forward to it, but I do have people who are like, nah, I'm good. I actually do not like this at all. So
yeah,
I kind of think it's kind of like it just really depends on the person and what their interactions with 7 are. I think it's definitely interesting that they're doing it. I personally haven't touched the remake, nor I haven't really finished the original 7. I think the original 7, I got up to beating up Hojo, but it was my problem was. I didn't level right, so it was kind of my own fault. I was under leveling with things, so that was my own problem. But like all in all, though, like I've seen like I used to be until Final Fantasy 6, and I started playing that and really look into that. I love 6 a lot more than 7, but I used to remember me and a friend would always battle about like 6 being his favorite, 7 was my favorite, until I really played 6. I said, you know what, he wins. He absolutely wins.
Yeah.
Now that's just my opinion, but he wins in all that. But after like realizing what 6 did.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm gonna ask you. Go ahead, and we're gonna have our one last ending question here.
Sure.
What kind of advice would you give a new player joining 14 for the first time? And it could be just in general. It doesn't have to be just about rating.
I say don't listen to other people on like some of the charm of this game, and this is a common one, but everyone talks about how like, oh yeah, skip ARR, and lots of people I see nowadays get pressured into like skipping content because like they want to catch up to their friends who are at end game. And some of the charm that I had of this game when I first started playing is I went at my own pace. Like, granted, like, yeah, there's so many expansions now compared to when ARR came out, and it was like a new game, and like a lot of the systems are dated. Obviously, they're not very good considering how many they've taken out. But I kind of miss nowadays that charm of like starting a game and just really enjoying and soaking it in and taking it at my own pace. And too many times we hear so many people get into 14 and say like, oh, skip the content, just go straight into Heaven's Sword, when they miss the whole point that a lot of the fundamentals of the story start in ARR. There's a lot of lore and world building that's in ARR. There's a lot of small charms in ARR that I don't think should be overlooked. Yeah, it can drag on and stuff like that, but I think that that's like the things in ARR made me fall in love with the game that it is today. And I think a lot of people should have the opportunity to experience that without someone telling in their ear that you should skip it. Additionally, with the fact that 14 has one of the most generous free trials I have ever seen, and this is not me saying the meme, but it's just you have to think of like for you not paying a sub, and yeah, you're limited on what you can do, and you can literally go through all of these expansions with all of the extra content, you know, deep dungeon, you can go do extreme trials, you can go through all of these things, like all the side stories, literally without being charged or not being forced to, okay, you have the free trial, but you can only play story, you can only do this. Like that's not what they're doing. They're giving you all of this for free. And that is hundreds of hours of content. They're just giving it to you, and someone's telling in your ear to skip it all until you have to pay for it is not like, if you want to make that decision, that's fine, but I feel like it should be given its own, you should give it its own opportunity and its own time to shine without someone in your ear telling you what to do.
Honestly, that's some very good advice. Usually what I tell folks is the most important thing is enjoy at your own pace and just enjoy the game. Mostly just focus on your experience, because at the end of the day, you gotta know if you enjoyed it or not. Don't do it because of other people. Enjoy it because you want to enjoy it. I know friends help, and you know, being around people really would help, you know, motivation, stuff like that. Because sometimes I kind of get like that. But just remember, at the end of the day, you have to enjoy that experience so that you can then enjoy that experience with more people. I think that's the main thing about that. Enjoy that experience. So with that, though, we'll go ahead and we're going to wrap it up there. I do want to say, Rika, thank you again for taking this time to do an interview about this. This was a lot of fun. I learned a lot of new things.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. With that being said, folks, we're going to wrap things here. I do want to say thank you all for coming by and hanging out. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. And you guys, please, if you can, go ahead and give Rika some love here. Rika does a lot of things. I have to say, she's just amazing based on a lot of things I've heard about and whatnot. And finally being able to sit in a call with you, because I think most of the time I think I'm in a call with you once or twice, but I've mostly just been like, kind of like, you know, just kind of seeing you watch your streams and then kind of do my own thing. So this was
understandable.
But this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
But everybody else, again, you guys can go ahead and subscribe on my YouTube. If you guys are on the YouTube side of things, if you're on Twitch side of things, remember, actually, either way, make sure you guys are following me on Twitch and on YouTube. It's ways to know when I keep informed when I go live. I do also have a Discord. This is my own personal Discord right here. This is also a way you can keep knowing when I go live. I do have a Twitter, Blue Sky. Here's the YouTube link for folks in this chat here, and then the coffee link. Again, the coffee, if you guys like to help the channel, but you guys don't want to use ways of Twitch, coffee helps out as well. Anything you guys do through coffee or anything you guys do through Twitch is kind of just to help me and Lark out currently, but like hopefully once things get rolling, it goes back to basically making content for you guys so we can have more fun times up ahead, because I have a lot of things I like to do eventually. We'll get there though. So once again, thank y'all for coming by and hanging out. Let's go find someone to raid. See who's on the radar right now. Radar. Anyone playing? You know what? My friend Lara. Lara Lot is currently doing some stuff in Final Fantasy XIV. But content.
Buko, shut up.
I know. But yeah. Guys, yeah, but here we go. We're gonna say hi to Lara. She happens to be a really good friend, whatnot. So let's just say hi, and I'll see you guys next week on Tuesday, where I interview Cinder for a walk down
Stinky.
memory lane. Yes, the Stinky. So until next time, everybody, take care.
Bye.